Hi friend, in today's video we're diving deep into the brand new basic Kindle, the 11th generation. We're going to look at the tech specs, break down the build quality, display and performance, review its features, compare it to the Kindle Paperwhite 12th gen as well as Kobo Clara, and of course weigh the pros and cons. By the end, I will give you my full review on whether I'd buy this Kindle or not. Oh, and just a heads up, I might occasionally call this Kindle the Kindle Matcha, just for fun. Think of it as a little nickname. Let's get into it. Let's start with a quick rundown of the tech specs for the new Kindle. First off, this is the lightest Kindle ever made. It weighs in at just 155 grams or about 5.4 ounces, which is super easy on the wrists. Storage-wise, it's got 16 gigabytes, though realistically, you get around 11 gigabytes of usable space. Still, that's plenty of room and actually matches what you'd get with the latest Kindle Paperwhite. Now let's talk about the colors. You can choose between the classic black or this new vibrant matcha color. Personally, I'm a fan of the matcha. It's got this fresh, eye-pleasing vibe that just feels fun and different. Now onto the build quality and design. So entire back and front panel around the display are made of plastic. It doesn't feel particularly premium and the back is a bit on the slippery side, especially compared to some Kobo devices, which often have a textured back that's easier to grip. Plus, the display itself isn't flush with the front panel. It actually sits a few millimeters deeper. This design choice can make it a bit tricky to swipe down from the top edge to pull up the quick menu. But while it may feel a little plasticky, I have to say it's a pretty sturdy build. I even put some pressure on it and tried to bend it a bit and it didn't budge. It feels like it could survive the occasional small drop without much issue. One thing I love though is how compact this is. It's a super easy to slip into a back pocket, a small purse or your backpack. Great for on-the-go reading even if you're out hiking or running around town. Let's talk display. The Kindle 11th Gen has a 6-inch glare-free display with a 1072 by 1448 resolution and it packs in 300 pixels per inch using e-ink Carta technology. This all adds up to some pretty great contrast, which makes reading really comfortable on the eyes, even in direct sunlight. The screen also comes with an adjustable front light. Amazon says it's 25% brighter at max compared to the previous models. Now, I don't have the older version to compare, but up against the Paperwhite 12th gen, it's slightly darker. Compared to the 11th and 10th gen Paperwhite though, it's pretty much on par. I couldn't notice much of a difference. Now, compared to the 7-inch screen on the Paperwhite 12th gen, this smaller screen does mean you get fewer lines of text. My testing showed that it displays about 8 lines fewer than the 12th gen Paperwhite. Plus, since the Paperwhite screen is wider, it can fit more words per line, so we will be doing a little bit of extra swiping with this smaller Kindle. As for backlight temperature, the 11th gen Kindle sits somewhere between the warmer Paperwhite 12th gen and the slightly cooler Paperwhite 11th gen. I'd say this Kindle's backlight has a tiny bit of a greenish tint, but overall it feels balanced and easy on the eyes. Before we jump to the next section, I just want to ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video. Appreciate your support. Let's get into performance. Honestly, I'm impressed with how quick this device is, especially given its compact size. Compared to the Paperwhite 12th gen, the new Matcha Kindle is just a tiny bit slower. But honestly, the difference is so small that it's barely noticeable. And when you remember that this Kindle is around 40% cheaper than the Paperwhite, it's hard not to be impressed by the value here. As for battery life, Amazon hasn't shared the exact battery capacity, but they say it should last around 6 weeks if you're reading for about 30 minutes a day. And in my view, that's a pretty solid for a device in this price range. Now, let's go over the features. After going through this Kindle, I didn't find any brand new features, but it still packs all the good stuff we've come to expect, like the dark mode, Bluetooth, dual band Wi-Fi for both 2.4 and 5 GHz, and all the font adjustments and customizations you could want. There's also a built-in dictionary, WhisperSync for syncing across devices, and a power saver mode to help stretch that battery. Now, if you saw my previous video on the Paperwhite 12th gen, you might remember I mentioned it was missing a sleep timer feature. I'm happy to report that the new Kindle Matcha has it, so you won't have to worry about manually turning it off if you forget to. I should mention the new Kindle Matcha is missing page animation feature when compared to Kindle Paperwhite. This wasn't available in the previous basic version, so it seems Amazon decided to keep it that way. If I'm being honest, this is not a huge deal and I don't think you're going to miss out on something majorly important. Let's compare the Kindle Matcha to one of its closest competitors, the Kobo Clara Black and White and Color. There are definitely a few things that may sway someone towards the Kobo Clara. For starters, it has a warm light which can be easier on the eyes in low light situations. And it's also waterproof. So it's great if you read by the pool or in the bath. Plus, I personally find the Kobo's interface a bit more user-friendly. Also, for Kobo Color, you get Color Ink Kaleido 3 display that adds additional dimension when reading comics, magazines, or PDF documents. On the other hand, the Kindle Matcha has a higher resolution and is more budget-friendly. Overall, if I had to pick between the two, I'd go with the Kindle Matcha for its lower price, especially since it holds up really well in terms of performance. Let's wrap up with some pros and cons. For the pros, I really like the quality of the display, the strength of the backlight, and the overall page turn speed. It feels snappy and responsive for everyday use. The interface too is pretty smooth, which is a nice surprise given the price. Now, for the cons, I'm not a fan of the display being slightly recessed instead of flush with the front. It makes swiping a bit awkward sometimes and the dirt can get into the crevices. The build quality also feels a little bit on the cheap side and I'd love to see a warm or night light option on the device. But I get it, the pricing is very affordable and honestly there isn't really another e-reader at this level with this feature set. So if you're on a budget, I think it's a great option that doesn't compromise too much where it matters. Conclusions. So overall, for the price, the new Kindle 11th Gen is a solid entry-level device for anyone looking to dip their toes into the world of e-reading. At this price point, it really delivers what it promises. Sure, I may have higher expectations because I've spent a lot of time with pricier devices like the Kindle Paperwhite, SCRIBE, Kobo Libra Color, and even the remarkable Paper Pro. But for the budget conscious, it's honestly a fantastic option. If you're always on the go and need something lightweight and super portable, this Kindle is a great choice. But if you're reading a lot every day and want that extra comfort of a bigger screen, I'd recommend considering the Kindle Paperwhite. Personally, I may use this Kindle when going outdoors, but use my Paperwhite while reading at home. And hey, if you're thinking about picking up any of these Kindle devices, feel free to use the Amazon link available in the description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it really helps support the channel. Now, I'd love to ask, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below if the new Kindle 11th Gen or that Matcha color is calling your name. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye!